Hi, my loves. Welcome to the Cosmic Thread Podcast, your space for ancient wisdom, spiritual depth, and feminine embodiment. I'm your host, Jessie Jade, and here we weave spiritual insights into the modern world so that you can become the highest version of yourself possible. Hi, my loves. Welcome back to another episode. I'm so excited to have you here with me because today's episode is going to be about one of my all-time favorite things in the world, which is the tools I use to connect to spirit. Now, I'm going to be interchanging the word spirit for universe, source, self, God, goddess. They're all expressions of the same divinity. So if there's one that you resonate with, you're welcome to just mentally change what I'm saying to suit your preference there. So if you're here, then there's a good chance you're already on your spiritual path well and truly. And if you're new to this way of seeing the world, then I welcome you with an open heart. Because once you've connected into something higher than yourself, you realize just how expansive and full of limitless potential you are. So tapping into this limitlessness of the universe can be really easy at the start. Oftentimes, we'll go through almost like a honeymoon phase with our spiritual awakening, and it'll be a phase of our lives that feels so easy to tap in. Meditating is easy. Non-judgment is easy. You see the divinity in everything, and it's like you're walking around on a cloud of feeling just completely detached from everything and everyone. And you have all of this love in your heart just to give to anybody. And then the honeymoon phase ends and we shift back to reality, which this can be really sobering when you come from such an incredibly high frequency state. See, the thing is, we're not supposed to be tapped in at all times because the lessons are in the shadows. They're in the triggers and the moments where someone rubs us up the wrong way, giving us insight into a viewpoint that we're actually not okay with. Or by spending time with our family and realizing that our parents really trigger us when they're being overprotective, even though we're adults. See, these seemingly little insignificant moments, they're where the magic happens. Because when we choose to catch the trigger as it's happening and shift how we react, we can change the way we move through the world from now onwards. And oftentimes we can work through a trigger that has been in our bodies for years. You'll never be Zen every moment forever. Because if you choose to participate in society, you're gonna get triggered. Like, if your husband cheats on you, you're not going to stay in pure love and light. You're not going to wish him and his mistress puppies and rainbows. And if you did, it would be inauthentic and just create issues for you down the road when that rage and that sadness needs to be released and comes out in your next relationship or in a workplace or in another betrayal because you didn't process the first one that needed to be honored. Now, it might feel like I'm going on a tangent, and I mean, that's because I am. But the point that I'm trying to make is that life will always be a series of highs and lows. And to be able to learn that your connection to the universe doesn't waver when you waver, that's a very sacred way to live. This is where practices come in to help us stay connected to our divinity. When your internal compass is always facing north and taking you to the highest expression, then it doesn't matter what's going on externally because you always have a grounded foundation to go off of internally. So if source is an open channel that's accessible at all times, then practices are how we dial into that channel. Maybe think back to a time when you had a lot on your plate and everything was all in the air at once. Now I invite you to think about a practice that makes you feel connected. Maybe it's meditation. Maybe it's some form of movement. It could be a morning routine where you journal or a cup of tea sitting warmly in your hands or when you paint. Whatever that practice is for you, take a moment to breathe in and just sit in the feeling of doing that practice. How does it feel? Imagine if you created the space to do this practice each day back when you had a lot on your plate and everything was still in the air all at once. You'd still be busy, but you would have a foundation to come back to each day that was sacred and it was yours to tune into. This is what our practices are for. They're for helping us keep one foot in our highest expression and one foot on earth. So what are some practices we can do to tune into the universe? Today, I'm going to share what I've personally used over these last few years as my guiding light. I'm very much one to try everything I see, and I stopped doing it after like a week because it's just like it's not a vibe anymore for me. But these are the things that I have stuck to for years. So the first tool I use is a divination tool, and this is both tarot and oracle. I've been doing tarot for about 6 years, and it was a really big catalyst for heightening my intuition and seeing the connection between everything that happens in my life. Tarot is a tool that is used to connect with Source and receive the answers to any question that you have. Your question could be, I need some clarity on this problem coming up in my relationship. Or you could ask for some insight into what's coming in your near future. I use the near future one a lot. I actually also ask for what it is that I've been downloading recently and what the universe is asking me to let go of. I just find these really helpful because sometimes I can get so wrapped up in my own life that the answers might be like completely obvious, but I can't see them. And this helps me kind of have it visually right in front of me. It's such a direct form of receiving answers from the universe. And the cards, they're completely unbiased, just as the universe is. So there's no good or bad answer. They're just mirroring reflections of what's going on in our lives that can sometimes be a little hard to see if we've been avoiding looking at the truth of something. I mean, for example, with me, at the beginning of 2025, there was unforeseen challenges really for me, and I started to pull some tarot cards at the beginning of the year, and they reflected some foundations breaking, some betrayal, some heartbreak. They also showed in the same pool that there was going to be building of stronger foundations, that I'd be making some pretty intense judgment calls, and that I'd be deepening my relationship. I kind of shucked off the message, like as I often do, because I just want to see what happens if I, attach to it too hard. Your fate can change. It's completely up to you whether you have your fate happen. But I usually just shuck it off and let it happen, to be honest. So lo and behold, my January was ending a many-year-long relationship with one of my closest friends, having my absolute best Judy move away alongside my brother. I had someone in my life pass away, and I was getting extremely close to someone who was, honestly, they were becoming a staple in my life. And I had to have them leave just in one moment. So within about 2 weeks, I lost a number of people in every conceivable way. And it was foundation breaking, heartbreaking, one of which was done in a pretty solid betrayal. But it was also a sacred blessing because it allowed me to recreate my foundations of who I am without leaning on others whenever I needed love, making massive boundary-creating judgment calls that gave me immense strength, and in turn falling deeper in love and understanding with myself and with my partner, who ultimately had to hold me in all of these expressions, and he loved me viciously through them all. So when I was given time to reflect, I saw that every single card I pulled was beyond right. A lot of people see, like in movies, they see like the death card pulled or something, and they think that, it's going to mean that someone's going to die and that it's all about life predictions. But no, it's not. My favorite card in the deck is actually the death card. It's also the High Priestess, but we'll go into that another time. And when I pull the death card, I know that there is an old version of me ready to alchemize into a higher expression. And with all things that are predicted always, the future can and will shift accordingly. That's why going and seeing psychics, psychics are incredible. They're incredible. But it can also be so-so, and you don't need somebody telling you, to hold off for this one person in 6 years' time that'll be on a fucking corner, because your future can change at all times with your discretion. Your future is not necessarily set in stone. There are things that we're constantly manifesting in every moment. And if we want to shift the trajectory of our future and jump timelines, we can. So in this way, if we're pulling tarot, it's here to help us see our future that's coming and shift accordingly if we choose to. So Oracle is like tarot in the way that it's a card deck that's attuned to your highest self. But that's about as far as the similarities go. Tarot is a system that was developed like centuries ago, and it has a very specific energy infused in each card. And they've been charged that way for a very long time, kind of like astrology. Whereas Oracle, it's a deck of cards that has its energy and themes infused by the creator of those cards. For example, you can get Oracle cards infused with like the codes of Egyptian goddesses, of unicorns, or cards with like light language, or just positive affirmations. For me, I still only use one Oracle deck, which is, I think it's called Beyond Lemuria by Izzy Ivy. It is the most beautifully illustrated deck infused with such deep, soulful codes. But with Oracle decks, it's very much about what energy speaks to you. Same with tarot if you're buying your first deck. Now for Oracle decks, you're going to want to speak to the theme that speaks to you the most. I am an absolute devotee to ancient civilizations, one of which I very much know I had a past lifetime in, which is ancient Lemuria. So for that reason, that's why I chose this specific deck to tap into the codes of my spirit guides, my ancestors, and my past lifetimes in Lemuria. I'll often use Oracle as a replacement of tarot when I'm not really feeling like tuning into the shadows as much, because Oracle is usually quite consistently positive, and I love it for this. So when I know that I'm not ready to deep dive into the underworld, I'll choose to dive a little deeper into the light where I can receive the Oracle messages and work with the energy of that card. So another tool, which is going to sound a little funny, that I love to use is taking breaks, especially when I'm on the laptop, to have like a mini meditation or visualize to bring me out of my thinking mind and back into my feeling body. This one has been a game changer from watching my brain get absolutely fried, writing and creating and just pushing through and forcing ideas, to moving the laptop off me or stopping what I'm doing and closing my eyes, taking some deep breaths in and taking myself on a visualization journey. It can be anything and anywhere. Whatever wishes to come up is usually what you need in that moment. But I'll often talk myself through the journey like out loud, because if I just sit quietly and I think about it, I get super distracted. But like, for example, I'll feel my brain just getting tired, so I'll close my eyes. I'll focus on my breathing, and I begin to tune into like filling up my belly and exhaling deeply to empty. I might take myself through a body scan from head to toe slowly to release any tension. And then I might just call in like liquid gold and white light into one of my chakras and breathe that into my body for a moment. Or maybe if I'm feeling it, I'll like take myself on a journey through a forest to my highest self, and I'll really tune into what I'm wearing, if I'm wearing anything, how I feel, what movements I'm doing, and I'll end up communing with my highest self. These don't have to be long. I mean, they can be if you want them to. But without a doubt, no matter how reluctant I am to get into them in the moment, I come out feeling absolutely brand new and so centered. I'll often end up like writing for a few more hours if I've been working, just from a single moment of connecting. Not always, but most often it's enough to get me back into that space. Because see, our brilliance is always inside of us. It's never outside of us. But we always forget that in the moment, and we think we need to wait all day to go to a yoga class or a breathwork session to tap in. But we can just put the laptop aside, close our eyes, and find incredible peace and the answers to our questions in like 3 minutes, sometimes less. The key for this practice is no expectations. Don't force yourself to go on a pilgrimage in your mind when you're absolutely toasted. Just focus on the breath, maybe a color you want to breathe in. Focus on any tension in your body and just letting that melt away with every out breath. Make it unique to your needs in the moment. This will not only connect you to spirit, clear your mind, renew your energy, and help you tap into your creativity, but it'll help you strengthen your intuition, which is the light that is forever guiding you towards your highest potential. And so another practice I do often is I talk to my guides. Now, this one might feel a little bit far out for some, and it might feel really resonant to others. But essentially, you're always in connection to your guides. These can be perceived as beings, or as your highest self, or just you talking to the universe. I personally feel mine as separate beings. I can feel where some of them are from. I can feel like when my great uncle who passed a few years ago is around. I can feel my Atlantean heritage, my Lemurian past life energies, and other times I choose who I call on and who I connect to. Like recently, I've been calling on Isis and Osiris for their guidance in life, and that's been so powerful for me. Essentially, calling on your guides, it's a way to call on your support system that is guiding you always at all times. The channel between you and your spirit, it never closes, no matter what season of life you're in. And there are laws of intervention that in the earthly plane, our guides cannot just intervene without our permission. So call on them. When you're needing guidance, or just in general, if you want to connect and let them know that you wish to tune to them more, you're opening up the gateway for deeper connection when you call on them. You get to allow yourself to connect to your own personal team designed to guide you and cheer you on in this life. It's honestly amazing. And so again, release expectations. When I started calling on my guides, I was bitterly heartbroken that I didn't see them with my physical eyes. And although there are many people who can actually do that, for me it showed up as me being able to feel them and their presence. And I learned how to differentiate who was who essentially over time. In meditation, I can visualize them when they show up, but seeing them isn't the point. The point is moving through life with the understanding that you're always being guided, you're always being loved and cared for from the other realms. So to get into this practice, start by just asking. Just sit with yourself when you have a moment and let them know that you want to connect. Maybe you want to give them permission to intervene, maybe not. And then the next step, trust your intuition. Trust your guidance. You may feel something around you or in a particular direction. You may hear ringing or sounds in the background that feel like confirmation. You may see something or start to have dreams with a guide. Just begin to open this channel, and throughout your day, start to make the habit of checking in. This will connect you so deeply to your intuition. And this is an incredible practice to dive even deeper into your spirituality. And with all the tools and practices that I've mentioned today, take your time. Have fun with them. And know that the only thing you ever need is yourself. You are incredibly powerful. And some of these practices, they can take time before they feel natural. They did for me at least. So give them a try if you haven't already. Make them your own. So my loves, I think that concludes our episode today. Thank you for tuning in to the Cosmic Thread podcast. Please let me know what practices and tools you are vibing with, and then let me know in the comments below what helps you tune into spirit. And I'd love to give them a try myself. I'm always on the lookout for more ways to tap in. And if you're feeling called and this content speaks to you, please subscribe and share this episode with someone in your life. If you have any episodes you want to see in the future, please reach out. I would love to hear what you're vibing with and any guests that you want to see on the podcast. Thank you for listening. Until next time, my loves.